Summer is in full swing. It is July. Let's talk about another TBR. So July 2025 is upon us, and I had a pretty good reading month in June, but July is going to be a little bit harder to get a lot of reading done for a good reason. I'm going on vacation, a really fun road trip, but I just don't think there will be as much time as I had in June to read, and so I'm being a little bit realistic, a little bit more realistic with my July reading list. But because it is a road trip, I'm also expecting to get a good amount of way through some audiobooks, so that might equal out the reading. We'll see, not really sure. Same is true for my TBW, to be watched list. Not going to be watching a ton of movies on the road, but I'll talk about some anyway. A lot of these books are focused on that road trip and thinking about reading during camping or in the car or at a hotel. And also part of that is travel. I didn't want to pack like 18 books. So instead of packing a ton of books, I brought some thick ones, specifically one big one. And that is a classic I'm going to be reading this month. It is John Steinbeck's East of Eden. I don't know why I'm doing this like there's a cover. There's not a cover. This is the Library of America's kind of bound edition. I have a couple of these. I have some Le Guin. I read Left Hand of Darkness in this kind of binding and collection, and I've read some Steinbeck in here. East of Eden is sort of his major work that I haven't read. I've read Grapes of Wrath, The Pearl, Of Mice and Men, but have not read East of Eden, and I thought we are road tripping on the west coast of California, Oregon, and Washington, and I thought, why not read a famous American author who also is very famous for being from the West Coast and travel. And there's, I think, a special, like TV special coming out with East of Eden pretty soon. So everything seemed right. I really like Steinbeck. Every book I've read by him has been good to great, including Grapes of Wrath. If you haven't read it, I mean, the hype is real because it's so good. So I'm happy to read East of Eden. This is going to feel like a good road trip in America book. And even though it doesn't look super thick, that's because these collections have really thin paper. This book, in this edition at least, is close to 700 pages. So it is going to be quite a long read. I might get this done in July. It might be a longer sort of spillover into August. I'm not sure. East of Eden is going to be kind of the big read in July for me. But you all are probably more interested in these other two books because they are fantasy in nature. So these are going to be either, I might read these during East of Eden, so I have a little bit of my, like fantasy hits while I'm doing this. Or, I don't know, maybe I'll just get really into East of Eden and like have to plow through, and then these will just kind of fall by the wayside, or I'll just read them afterwards. I don't know. Big part of this question mark is like how much you get done on vacation. That's an interesting question for the comments. Do you find that you read more or less during vacation than your normal life? I feel like that's a very particular question for book readers. I think most people would say you read more on vacation. I actually think I might read less when I'm on vacation just because there's more to do, more people to talk with. I do like a lot of hiking, or if you're camping, there's not as much light. I don't know. That's going to be interesting. I hadn't thought about that till I recorded this. So let me know in the comments. Anyway, if I get through that, I am going to continue in the novels of the Malayan Empire to the next E.N.C. Esmont book, which is Orb, Scepter, Throne, which I believe takes place in Darujistan. That's what this city looks like here. And in a chat I had about Stonewielder, the last book, with Philip Chase and Michael Cronk, the book guy, they told me that this is the first time that E.N.C. Esmont takes some perspective characters from the Malayan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson into one of the spin-off novels. And I'm interested to see what that is, and like if Krupp is going to show up. He's a big part of the Darujistan books in the Malayan Book of the Fallen. So we'll definitely be doing that. The other thing I will actually definitely be doing, in fact, I will probably read this before Orb, Scepter, Throne to make sure that I have it done, is another Malayan book, not a Book of the Fallen, not a Novels of the Malayan Empire, but the first book of Witness The God Is Not Willing by Steven Erikson. Now, if you've been following this channel, you know I already have a review of this book. I read it when it first came out, loved it. So why am I reading it again? Well, a couple reasons. One is the next book in the Witness, it's not going to be a trilogy anymore. I think there's going to be 4 books. So the Witness series, the Tales of Witness, is coming out in October, and potentially the 3rd book is coming out next year. It seems that Erikson has been quite prolific in his writing. So I want to be fresh when that comes out, I think this October. But secondly, and perhaps very excitedly, Rhythma has not read this book yet, and we had been wanting to do, since we're both kind of getting back into book at the same time, we want to do a read-through together, and she suggested this, and I said, absolutely, would love to. So Rhythma and I will be doing a read-through of The God Is Not Willing by Steven Erikson. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's so good, especially if you like the Malazan Book of the Fallen. This is like a must. So good. And also, this looks very thick, but it is only about 500 pages. So for a Malazan book, is quite digestible. Hi, Min. I'm going to put you down on the ground. I know. We have talked about doing the kind of live read-through either the 1st or 2nd weeks of August, or like a live stream discussion on it. So keep your eyes out for that. As far as audiobooks on the road, I am going to continue rereading the First Law trilogy. I, in June, finished The Blade Itself, the very first book in the First Law universe, and the next 2 are, can I remember, Before They Are Hanged and The Last Argument of Kings, I believe, are the 2 next book in that trilogy. I don't think it'll be up yet, but I am recording a video, kind of a reappraisal of this. This is the 2nd time I've gone through the First Law trilogy, and I'm sort of in the camp of good, not great, and don't quite understand the hype about it, but I really want to get to the Age of Madness, the sort of 2nd larger trilogy, so I'm reading through the first one again, and so I'll be reading those 2. Whoever the audiobook author is there is quite good, does a lot of really interesting voices, and so it's been easy to revisit, I don't even know the name of the world, the First Law universe, and so I'll be continuing to do that in July as well, and we'll hopefully post, I think I'll do one on First Law, the book itself, or The Blade itself, and what I think about it, and then I'll do maybe a whole trilogy reappraisal and see what I think, because I remember sort of the ending of some of the characters, not others, so I want to get through that before I give like my ultimate opinion on that, if it's shifted my opinion at all. I still don't think it's going to be like in my top 10, but it's been fun to get back into this world. I think I read it first like 7 years ago. So 2 other First Law books, hopefully I'll get done on the road. Let's talk about movies, because as I said last month, I want to start putting in a TBW, to be watched element of these videos, because I love film, and I usually have like larger plans going on of like which I'm going to watch and why. Currently, there are 2 directors that I'm trying to get through their filmographies. One is James Cameron, who I've seen most of those movies, like T2, Titanic, Avatar, all the big ones, but I'm rewatching them. And Ang Lee, who I actually have not seen a lot of movies of. So we're going to watch, I've seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but we'll be watching that. I'm really excited to see Brokeback Mountain for the first time. So those are kind of the 2 main directors that I'm focused on. Bunch of cool movies coming out in July that I'm sure you all are excited about, that I am. The new Superman movie is coming out. Eddington by Ari Aster is coming out. New Fantastic Four is coming out. All of those I'm very interested to see. And maybe the last thing I'll just say in the 2BW section is, I don't know if you saw, but the New York Times did the top 100 films of this century, which was fascinating. I have seen 72 of them. Put in the comments how many you have seen. I'm quite proud, honestly, of doing 72. I think it's a pretty high number, but I would like to bring that to 100. So I'll probably also kind of slowly be working my way through that. I think when I get back from vacation is when I'll actually like kind of buckle down and start watching those, but wanted to mention that here and see if anyone else had seen that and what thoughts they had of those top 100. I think it's a really good list. I'm really happy. Number 1, spoiler alert, is Parasite. 2 is Mulholland Drive. 3 is There Will Be Blood. All 3 of those would definitely be my top 10. So I think they did a good job. But there's also a lot of like not like movie people movies. There's like popular movies like Anchorman is on there, which I also do love. Anyway, that is my TBR and TBW for July 2025. What about you? What are you watching? What are you reading? What do you think of the books I'm reading? Which ones have you read? Especially East of Eden. I'm interested in what people have read. Let's talk about it in the comments. First in, last out.